follows. Once upon a time, many years ago, there was a king. His name was Gadi. And this king had a daughter. His daughter's name was Satyavati. Not the same Satyavati in the Mahabharata. It's a different Satyavati. And this king's daughter, she wanted to marry this sage named Richika. Okay, so they got married. Richika and Satyavati got married. And what happens is that she wanted to have a nice son as a Brahmin. Because she was a Kshatriya before, she became a Brahmin by being married to a Brahmin. So the father, that's Richika, started to perform a sacrifice so that she could have a Brahmin son. But her mother wanted also to have a son. So her mother said, you should perform the sacrifice so my daughter can have a son and I can have another son. So what happened is they produced this kheer that when they drink it they would have a son. And the mother switched the daughter's kheer with her kheer. So she got a Brahmin son, and the son from Satyavati was going to be a fierce Kshatriya, but she begged for forgiveness, said, please don't make my son a very fierce warrior. And they said, well, your grandson will be a fierce warrior. So her son was named Jamadagni. And Jamadagni got married to a lady named Renuka. Jamadagni is the father of Parashurama. And so they had, as their youngest son, Parashurama. Parashurama means Ram with the axe. And he was ferocious. So what happened, once upon a time, there was this king named Kartavira Arjuna who had 1,000 arms. This is the same Kartavira Arjuna who defeated Ravana one time. Kartavira Arjuna was one time bathing in this river called the Brahishmati River, and he was pushing the water backwards. And Ravana was also bathing in a different place, but then he saw the water going backwards. And Ravana got very angry, and he said, I'm going to fight with this person who's doing this. And this Kartavira Arjuna, he was so strong, he defeated Ravana. So Ravana had gotten defeated many times before he fought with Lord Ram. Also Bali one time defeated Ravan. He actually put Ravan under his armpit, and he flew around with Ravan. So as far as Kartavira Arjuna is concerned, he became very envious of Jamadagni, the father of Parashurama, because they had a Kamadhenu in their house. Kamadhenu means a desire cow, a cow that can give you anything, ice cream, milk, pakoras, anything you want, halava, anything. So he wanted that, and he arranged to steal the cow. And when he stole the cow, guess what happened? This Kartavira Arjuna stole the cow. Parashurama got really angry, and he went and he killed the soldiers of Kartavira Arjuna, and eventually he cut off all of Kartavira Arjuna's arms and killed Kartavira Arjuna. And so Kartavira Arjuna's sons were very upset. Later on, they came and killed Parashurama's father, Jamadagni. They cut off his head. And so when they cut off his head, Parashurama's father, Parashuram got so angry with Kartavira Arjuna's sons and all the Kshatriyas that he went and took a vow to kill all the Kshatriyas on the earth. So for 21 generations, that's what it means, 21 times, he killed all the Kshatriyas, and he created lakes of blood from killing the Kshatriyas. That's why he's called Parashurama. And he used his axe and killed all the Kshatriyas. So later on, he also appeared during Lord Ram's pastimes, when Lord Ram broke the bow at the Swayamvara of Sita Devi. And that bow was the bow of Lord Shiva. Actually, the bow, it's an interesting story, that the bow was not broken by Ram, the bow broke itself. because the bow did not want to be used against Shiva's devotee, Ravan. Does that make sense? Interesting. So anyway, later on he appeared after the Swayamvara and he challenged Ram and he said, who has broken this bow? And Lakshman said, anybody could break the bow. Just keep quiet, Parashurama. And Parashurama got angrier and angrier, and Ram went forward and he said, I broke the bow. My name is Ram. And Parashurama said, I'm Ram. And what kind of Ram are you? And he said, if you're really Ram, let's see you take Vishnu's bow. And at that particular point, Ram manifested Lord Vishnu's bow, and he drew the arrow on the bow and says, all right, I've drawn the arrow, so I have to hit something. So tell me what I should hit. And Parashurama said, well, you should destroy all my pious activities, like that. So this was the encounter between two incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ram and also Parashuram simultaneously. Another incarnation, we'll get through the incarnation, is Kalki. Kalki is an interesting incarnation because at the end of this Kali Yuga, it's a long time, about 430,000 years, he comes, there's no more devotees, or very few devotees left, and he comes in riding on a horse. There's no more cars either. No more Toyotas. So anyway, he comes riding on a horse, and no more taxis either. So he comes riding on a horse, and he kills all the rascals, all the demons. And then the next Yuga, Satya Yuga, starts. That's the Kalki incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next incarnation is Lord Buddha. And Buddha appeared over 2,000 years ago, and he taught nonviolence. He had a specific mission. His mission was to actually stop people from misusing the Vedic literatures in killing animals. Because like you know, in some of the Vedic literatures, there's injunctions how you can kill a goat. Once a month, you're supposed to go on the full moon day and say to the goat, Mamsa Kadati, which means in the next life you'll get a chance to kill me. And then you kill the goat. And so people were misusing that to open up slaughterhouses. You know, just like in India, you go to India and you find Kali slaughterhouse in different places. Because they're taking things out of context of the Vedic literatures to do sinful activities. So Lord Buddha thought this has to stop. And he brought people away from the Vedas so they wouldn't misuse the Vedas. Then after that, Shankaracharya appeared and brought people back to the Vedas. So that was Lord Buddha's mission. And his mission was ahimsa paramo dharma. That means non-violence is the supreme dharma. So that's Lord Buddha. And then you have Balaram. And Balaram, of course, we had his appearance day the other day. Balaram is the elder brother of Krishna. He is the same as, of course, Krishna, but also the same as Lakshman. We know during Lord Ram's pastimes, Lakshman had to do a lot of things he didn't want to do, like put Sita Devi in the fire, or send Sita Devi away to the ashram of Valmiki Muni. And so Lakshman asked a benediction from Lord Ram. He said, please make sure I never become your younger brother again. So the next appearance, he became the older brother. And even though he was the older brother, Balaram, Krishna never listened to it. Krishna didn't follow the rules very well. So Balaram is famous for many different pastimes. We talked about how he killed different demons. But one interesting pastime, I could tell many, is that he sometimes went to Vrindavan to dance with his own group of gopis. He actually had his own gopis, not the same gopis that danced with Krishna, but his own group of gopis. And when he was dancing with the gopis, he was getting drunk. Now you may say, how can God get drunk? Well, everything is there in the spiritual world. In this material world, it's a reflection of the spiritual world. Upside down, like a mirror, is a reflection of what we see. In other words, right is left, left is right. That's a mirror reflection. So whatever is top there is the lowest here. Like the topmost in the spiritual world is Krishna dancing with the gopis. And the lowest here is just illicit life. It's very low. So there's drinking in the spiritual world between Krishna's associates and Balaram. So Balaram was getting drunk on Varuni beverage. It comes from the trees. It wasn't like you have whiskey here or beer or things like that. But it was natural beverage. And Balaram was dancing with the gopis, and he wanted the Yamuna river to come close to him so they could go bathing. And the Yamuna river was thinking, he's just drunk. Why do I have to listen to him? And so Balaram took his plow and dragged the Yamuna to come close. And that's one of the stories of Balaram. And the Yamuna prayed to Balaram for forgiveness. So Balaram has very similar pastimes as Krishna does. The only thing is he doesn't play a flute. Balaram has unexcelled beauty, has intimate pastimes, and great intimate devotees, but he doesn't play a flute. So it's almost like Krishna, but he is Krishna, but just acting in a different way for pastime's sake, as are all the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And finally, there's Ram. And Ram, Lord Ram's pastimes are wonderful for us because he is the one incarnation of the Lord that sets the example that we should follow. He's called Maryada Purushottam. He's the perfect example, perfect person of good manners, etiquette, and everything like that. Krishna doesn't set good examples. Krishna pinches babies. Ram never pinched babies. Ram never lied. Ram never stole butter when he was young, right? He's perfect. He's a perfect gentleman. So Prabhupada said about his disciples and followers, we should all be perfect gentlemen and ladies. In this way, we will attract people and impress people in this world. So Ram, he had one arrow, one wife, and his one word. And he never broke any of those. His whole pastimes. He never lied. Every arrow always found its target, its mark, and he only had one wife. Even though other people wanted to marry Ram, and Ram sent Sita Devi away at the end of the pastimes in Ayodhya, but still he was so loyal to Sita Devi, he made a deity of Sita Devi. When he was doing the sacrifices, he had the deity, because the wife is supposed to be next to the husband during the sacrifice, the Ashwamedha sacrifice, and the Rajasuya sacrifices. So he's a perfect example. And he sacrificed everything for the good of the citizens. And the reason he sent Sita Devi away, after he went back to Ayodhya, was his consideration or duty to the citizens was more important than the duties to himself. Because he had so much love for Sita Devi, he would never send Sita Devi away. But he was showing how the perfect leader or king has to consider the people who he is leading to be more important than himself and his own happiness. Of course, internally, Ram's separation from Sita was part of his pastimes to experience something we call Vipralamba Seva, intense separation, because that brings the lover and the beloved closer together. So Ram is never separate from Sita. That's just externally he appears to be separate from Sita, but he's never separate from Sita. So these are the Dasha avatars, and of course then you have Krishna, who all the avatars come from, and Krishna exhibits more qualities than any other avatar. He's the same person as all the other Vishnu Tattva avatars, but he has these qualities of intimate devotees, playing a flute, unexcelled beauty, and intimate pastimes. So the other, even Vishnu Tattva avatars, have 60 qualities, whereas Krishna has 64 qualities. So just analyzing that, we can see that Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. And that's the statement of the Shastras too. But they're all the same person. So, in 2 days, we're going to be celebrating Krishna's appearance. But we should always think or understand that Krishna appears in all these varieties of ways. As Jayadev Goswami, the great author, states, Keshavadrita, Narahari Rupa, Keshavadrita, Shukara Rupa, Keshavadrita, Rama Sharira, Keshavadrita, Haladara Rupa. This is the Dasha Avatar slokas, which are actually quite well known in India. And of course, the one we chant every day is Keshavadrita, Narahari Rupa, to Lord Nrsingadev. So, thank you very much. Any questions or comments before we end? Janmashtami is in 2 days from now. No? All right. I guess that's it. So, happy Astami. All glories to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
I'd like to thank on behalf of the management of the Krishna Temple and our devotees, our Guru Maharaj has come all the way, and he'll be traveling to Suva tomorrow.